As our own Eamon Javers is joined by formerly our own and now National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow. Wow, it's like a CNBC reunion, Eamon. Take it away.
Yeah, it feels like that here in the State Dining Room, Brian. That's right. Thank you very much. We're here at the White House with the National Economic Council Director, Larry Kudlow. And Larry, you guys have just finished up an event here on worker retraining and apprenticeship. Yes. The president during that event said something I thought was fascinating, which is that if Republicans don't do well next week in the midterms, he thinks the stock market's going to take a big leg down. What's your prediction?
Well, I'm not going to make a prediction. I do think part of the uncertainty in stocks is about the election. And I will say this. I think a lot of investors, maybe not all, but many investors are concerned that a big change in Congress would cause a rollback of the key factors driving this strong economy, such as lower tax rates for individuals and businesses, deregulation, opening up energy, and so forth. I think folks are worried about that.
But if Democrats only take back the House, of course, the president's not going to sign anything that they send him, right? So how dangerous is that for the stock market and for the Trump agenda, do you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not in the forecasting business. We have a lot of smart political people in the White House. I myself, I can't help myself. I think it's going to be close in the House. I think we pick up a couple in the Senate. Lord knows I could be wrong.
Let me ask you, earlier in the week, the stock market was spooked a little bit by this report that the president is set to impose tariffs in December on the Chinese, all the rest of the tariffs up to $500 billion in imports, if talks don't go well in Argentina at the G20. Is the president set to do that in December? Where do you think we're going to land on tariffs?
You know, one of the things I've learned in this whole game, don't get ahead of your skis, okay? We may have a very good meeting in Argentina with President Xi. I'm not sure the agenda hasn't yet been worked out. These things are very hard to predict. I would say nothing is set in stone right now. And by the way, the president on one of the cable shows did say, it didn't get picked up, that if some kind of amicable deal with China were to happen, then a lot of tariffs might be pulled back. Now, he wasn't promising. He wasn't forecasting. He was just giving a very important hypothetical. So
what is that deal? What is that deal, though? What ultimately will the president accept from the Chinese and pull back those tariffs?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't want to get ahead of that story. Certainly the Chinese understand, you know, we need remediation on intellectual property theft, forced transfer of technology, ownership, tariffs on various ag and industrial commodities, non-tariff barriers. I said ownership, licensing. They know what our list of asks are. They've been looking at them. We haven't had intense talks lately, but there's always communication. So they know. And who knows, maybe, I'm not forecasting, I'm just saying it is possible some good, positive things could, I say could, come out of President Trump, President Xi talks. It's possible.
And are you saying that those talks are not necessarily set in stone in terms of a face-to-face meeting between the two leaders, or are we guaranteed to see that in Argentina at the end of this month?
I think there will be a face-to-face meeting. What the agenda is and so forth, how many times, I don't know. That's all in the planning stage, and I'm not going to let that out. But yes, they will meet in Buenos Aires. You ever been to Buenos Aires? It's pretty cool.
No, but I'm going with you guys at the end of the month. It's going to be fascinating.
See the Pink Palace.
One of the questions surrounding all of this is what's the timing for the president's decision? Does it necessarily have to be December, or is there some, kick the can down the road to the first quarter in terms of imposing these tariffs? What is the trigger point for the president to say, yes, we're going ahead with another 275 or 267, or no, we're not?
The policy talks determine this, not an arbitrary timetable. I think that's always very fair. If the policy talks go well, then we'll have a much better situation. If the policy talks don't, it may deteriorate. There's no timetable here necessarily. And again, the president said this the other night on the air, another network. He said, look, if we have some promising policy discussions, I don't know about a full-fledged deal, but if things go well, maybe some tariffs get withdrawn and maybe not. So it's all about the policies, Eamon.
Let me ask you about the market volatility we've seen. Some market weakness over the past week, some really white-knuckle last hours of trading over the past week. What do you think explains that? And where do you think we're headed in terms of market weakness? The Dow's been essentially, what, flat for the year at this point?
Yeah, I think it's up slightly now. We've got, as we talk, I think we're up about 800 points the last 2 days. But it's been a very difficult correction. I understand that. Look, there's a million reasons for corrections. They come and go. Heaven forbid I'm going to weigh in on a forecast. What I'll say is this.
But early on you said it was healthy, a healthy correction.
Well, I think,
and is it still healthy?
I think corrections come and go. And I think that's part of the business cycle, and it's part of the stock market cycle. Now, look, my view is the economy is in excellent shape. I thought the president's remarks today were spot on. We're running better than 3% growth, phenomenal consumer and small business confidence. Blue-collar workers are running as best they have since the 1980s. Labor force participation rate, women, Asians, Hispanics, African Americans, a low unemployment rate. By the way, the inflation rate is starting to dip down in recent months. I think it's a terrific economy, and I think the confidence numbers really tell a story.
Great. Larry Kudlow, National Economic Council Director, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eamon.
Appreciate your time.